Hey guys, this is CK, and I was guided to come on and explain the energy of the moon in Capricorn today with the configurations going on with the planets. Scorpio is involved in this one. Right now we've got Mercury in Scorpio, and it's got a nice sextile happening to Capricorn, which is conjunct Capricorn, or Saturn and Pluto. So we talk about conjunctions, aspects. Aspects are how the planets talk to each other, how they're conversing, if they're having a nice conversation, if they're kind of arguing. So sextile is a nice conversation. They're having a nice flow. They're having a, hey, it's kind of like when you're collaborating with somebody and you get into a really great space and there's a nice fluid conversation. Well, the conversation between Mercury and Scorpio with Pluto and Saturn right next to each other, they're having a nice flow, but they're getting deep, right? They're having a glass of wine together, they're having a smoke, and they're talking deep philosophical thoughts. Now, depending on where this is happening in your own chart, for me, the sextile is happening between the 10th house is my career and the 12th house of things that are hidden, my deep subconscious. So the flow is very harmonic, but I have to work with it because what's being activated right now with that Scorpio energy and Capricorn is alchemy. There is a divine embodiment happening right now with this fluid energy in my own matrix. Again, knowing my own chart, to know thyself is really that's where your power is. And Scorpio, Capricorn, that's the one thing they both have in common. They're both powerhouses. They draw power. They reflect power, and it's all about our personal power, our power to ourselves and who we are in relationships. When you stand into a room and the kind of presence you bring, that's your power. And that's influenced by Capricorn and Pluto. And it's also influenced by Scorpio, okay? Well, Scorpio is wanting to get to those nitty-gritty spaces of yourself through research, through alchemy, through using your tools to access your power. And so because the harmonic flow is going to where, okay, what do we need to do to get that power going, generating within us? You need to use the tools that you're drawn to. So for me, the last few days, it's been very purposeful in my meditations, because most meditations is to getting into no mind, right? Getting into no space, you can access those deep parts of yourself. With the deep parts of myself, because there's this aspect happening in my 12th house, this sextile, is using the tools to get to what my blocks are. Because 10th house is career and service to others, how we use our resources to serve the whole and to be the authority and the achievement of our life. Well, right now, Scorpio is saying you need to change some things. You need to alchemize some thought processes that are actually blocking you from receiving everything you want to receive, that you know you have the power to achieve. But there's some inversion. There's some alchemy that has to change for that to flow in. So I use different tools. I love accessing divination cards right now. This is an archetype card deck that I've been working with Carolyn Miss. She actually works, she does a lot of spiritual work. She's very into the archetypes of humanity, the different cast or characters that we all play. We're not absolved from playing any of these characters, just figuring out which character you're playing. And then it reveals the light and the dark aspects of what that is. So what surprised me coming up into my own deep subconscious today was the aspect of the vampire. And not realizing I've been giving my power away to those closest in my community, but more importantly, I've actually been taking power from those closest in my community because of insecurity, because of not knowing how to access my own power. And that was subconscious. I wasn't doing it consciously, but my subconscious was, okay? So just really accessing that point and being honest about it, because Scorpio and in Capricorn, especially with what's going on right now within the structure of my own being, it's calling for integrity, and it's calling me on my integrity. So if you're willing to step into those spaces with yourself and be honest, even in spaces where it's uncomfortable, where your nervous system may say, oh, that can't be me. That's not what this is about. If you're willing to concede and say, okay, maybe let me see where I am misusing my power or taking energy that doesn't belong to me. Because Capricorn also rules karma. It's conjunct, Pluto is our soul purpose, where we come into with our power position, and it's right next to the planet of karma. So where did we misuse our power? not just in governmental systems where we can see clearly going on as the outer realms of us, but internally, as within, so without. What parts of ourselves have misused and represented our own power, have not been in integrity, have actually sucked other people's energies unknowing to us because we couldn't access our own power tools. So this is what's being called for right now. So me, the power tools that I've been using, this is an orgonite crystal, and I love it because it actually has copper, which channels energy. And when you're really pointed focus and harnessing and accessing your power, you can really pull it in a specific geometry for a specific embodiment and creation. So right now I'm creating my business. I'm stepping into my power, developing, knowing my purpose, following my bliss. But there's been an inversion in my thought processes because the other card that came up to me for me was servant, okay? So why I was called to use this is because while I love to serve humanity, I am a servant to humanity. That's something that has always brought me joy. I've always loved to give in that regard. There's a shadow side, and that's another reason I like really working with these Carolyn Miss cards too, because it tells you what the light attributes are, but it also tells you what the shadow attributes are. And the shadow attributes for being of service to humanity is using the lack of money as an excuse not to move forward. And so that's part of the inversion that I realized, because when you know, and enough masters and teachers and philosophers have shown this, is when you follow your bliss, doors open where there wasn't even windows. I believe that's a Joseph Campbell quote. And I agree with that. But in my go-to processes, I always, or up until this now moment, the thoughts have been, well, I can't do that until I get the money for it. Knowing in my heart, in my experience, that's not the case, but my mental realm automatically goes to that frequency. So besides the orgonite, which is helping me really get pointed focused about what it is my intention is, and to channel that energy, that frequency, that thought process in to break through and really access my power, another tool that's been calling to me are magnets. So magnets are super cool. If you can see here, these are just hematites, little bitty tumbled hematites that I got at a local store here. I got 8 of them on each side, so 16 total, and you can see how powerful they are, right? Well, this is the interesting thing. As I was in my meditation, working with my power energy, alchemizing my thoughts, and of course putting them to my head here. It looks kind of funny, like an alien, but I could really feel the energy flow. Well, having pulled this card, I realized, well, this is the interesting thing about these particular tools. If you flip one side of it, okay, they no longer attract. Look at this. As a matter of fact, ooh, this bottom part just shifted it. Wow. Oh, there's something to that too. Wow. Okay. So see that? They're kind of, it's repelling, except for that bottom piece. The foundation wants to come together. Oh, interesting. So in my studies, all you have to do is when you invert it, then it's full magnetism. Okay? So sometimes there's an inversion process that needs to happen in the mental realm, depending on what it is you're alchemizing. Mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, it's all tied together. But using purposeful tools in reflection to what needs to be shifted. So again, playing with magnets is a huge, it actually defrags a lot of programs. They say, you know, don't put magnets in your phone because it'll wipe the system clean, right? It'll actually demagnetize and all your programs will be gone, right? So when being purposeful, this program of the dark shadow aspect of servant needs to go in my matrix for me to push through and harness my energy centers. I need to reclaim any kind of vampiric energy that I've either been allowing myself to be pulled from or pulling anybody's energy. So getting purposeful when using with your tools right now, Moon in Capricorn, that's what's being asked for, especially with this nice harmonious conversation it's happening with Scorpio and Mercury. Use your tools, get pragmatic. I'm actually getting ready to go on a walking meditation here at the Dunedin Causeway and just kind of move the energy now that I know, okay, I've been giving my power away. I've been taking other people's power. I've got to revert it. I've got to invert it. I've got to get right with it. And I got to move the energy flow. That's alchemy. That's power. That's reclaiming your sovereignty because you have everything you need. You just need to entrain through your using your third eye on how to see it. Another tool specifically that I use to activate the third eye process and the connection to my higher source is frankincense. I put 1 drop on the roof of my mouth right before any kind of meditative experience or walking experience, and that really propels me forward and keeps my crown chakra activated to receive my higher self's consciousness and guidance in a gentle and easy way. Again, use your tools, guys. If you're drawn to using something specific for you in your matrix right now, use it. Be pragmatic with it. Avoid the need for over criticizing. Step into your power. Claim it. Own it. That's what's being needed right now for all of us as sovereign beings. Thank you for sharing time and space with me. And as I'm guided to jump on here again, I will do so with grace and ease and intention. I love you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this. I appreciate you. Wholeness.